The village church. These magnificent monuments are sometimes described as the real Museum of England, repositories of local history linking communities to their past. But today the future of this architectural inheritance is in doubt as church attendance declines and the parishioners who support these great buildings get older.
As a parish priest in a rural area, which means I have 6 medieval churches in a population of less than 2,000 to maintain them, that can be a very big challenge. In rural areas, in particular with very small congregations, there isn't even sufficient funds to maintain proper insurance.
Father Andrew Mitcham is parish priest for St Mary's All Saints in Walsingham in Norfolk, a county which boasts more village churches than any other, a legacy of its position as the centre of the medieval wool trade. But today it is often only the generosity of individual parishioners and the money they put in the collection plate on a Sunday that keeps the roof watertight, the gutters clear, or the masonry pointed.
Our churches are in a better state than they have been for generations, but they are getting increasingly older. The congregations are struggling to cope. And we're sort of faced with a situation as to consider whether we can maintain these buildings as places of worship.
Father Andrew's church is full tonight for an event to raise money for the Norfolk Churches Trust. But empty pews are more often what you would find on a Sunday. Church attendance in England has halved in the last 40 years. In rural areas, this trend is exacerbated by the decline in populations. Ruth Blackman is a church architect for Norfolk and knows all about the difficulties looking after these buildings.
The biggest challenges that there are to secure funding, get permission for carrying out repairs. There's a lot of work involved at the moment in applying for grant aid, and although the money is available, parishes, I think, do find application processes particularly difficult.
A former Labour government introduced tax relief for church repairs. David Cameron's government set up a church roofs fund, but there are questions whether that support will continue.
It ought to continue. I think if it doesn't, there will be an awful lot of good work that's been achieved over the last sort of 15 or 20 years that could be undone if we don't maintain the level of financial aid that we've achieved at the moment.
Without lottery funding, without the roof repair fund, without organisation like the Norfolk Churches Trust, we would be floundering. But one also has to be realistic as well, and if we are about, as we surely are, about furthering the mission of the church, that has to be our main focus.
In some cases, the church has found other uses for these buildings, from kickboxing to puppet theatre. But the tension remains. Lord Dannatt, the former armed forces chief, who is president of the Norfolk Churches Trust, believes there must be a role for government.
I think it's a classic thing where, if you like, the public, private and charitable sectors all have to come together within the context of the church to make sure the church is there for the future.
Mobilising public support to preserve these monuments should not be impossible. The community plays a crucial role in fundraising, from car boot sales to bike rides. People still look to churches for many key events in their lives.
Even though people might not be regular church attenders, they still want the children to be baptised, some of them. They want to get married in church. They want to be buried in church or have a funeral service. That means that people, if they want to see the church building and the church community continue so that they can have the use of it, they've got to buy into it.
And engaging with the public is a key condition for heritage lottery funds, which gives Ruth Blackman hopes for the future.
That's beginning to have a real big impact on the repairs that we do, because more younger people are coming into the church. There is more diversity with the work and the activities that can go on in a church, and I think the great thinking behind that is that it will catch the next generation, inspire them, and they will actually look to take care of these magnificent buildings that we have in this county.
The ambition is these magnificent symbols of our shared history can be preserved for future generations, but it will probably take a greater level of public funding for their survival to be assured.